This is the starfish story. Once upon a time, a big storm came and it washed up thousands and thousands of starfish on the shoreline. And the townspeople of the beach town came outside the next day and they saw all of these starfish just littered on the whole beach. And they thought to themselves, man, how did all these starfish get here? And what are we going to do about it? And a lot of people just stood around and they didn't know what to do. And a little girl went out and she picked one up and she saw it and she threw it back into the ocean. She walked another foot, picked another one up, threw it back into the ocean. And on she went, just picking up a starfish and throwing it back into the ocean. And everybody was watching her and kind of rolled their eyes. Like, what is she doing? There's way too many of them. Like, that's probably not the way to solve this. So finally, one of them approached her and they said, what are you doing? Like, you cannot possibly be making a difference. There are way too many starfish out here. And she picked one up and looked at the guy, and threw it back in, and she said, I made a difference for that one. I like to tell people that story for two reasons. Number one, I'll let the feel-goodness of that story sink in. Okay, you can make a huge difference in a person's life by picking them up and throwing them back into the ocean. But what we do, I heard that, you hear that story often in education and in coaching. And teachers and coaches and people in education and social work and those professions that pick up a starfish and throw them into the ocean make a huge life-changing difference for the starfish they pick up, for the people that they help. And I told this story on my podcast years ago. My sister, who's in higher education, listened to it. And the next time I saw her, we were talking about it, and she gave me one of the best, the gentlest wake-up call. She said, yeah, you hear that story often a lot in education. She goes, but at what point do we look around and say, how did all the starfish get here? What happened where there's so many starfish that suddenly are on the beach? And she's right. Right? Like there are so many people who need our help. And it's not just one or two starfish coming in at a time, it's boatloads of starfish. So that has had me thinking over the last several years. And I've started to notice it in my practice as a physical therapist. And I had two gentlemen come in about the same time, about 3 years ago, whose lifestyles were the cause of their problem. Okay? Now, one of them had Parkinson's, and there's certainly genetic components to Parkinson's. There's certainly environmental components to Parkinson's. And another one just had knee pain. And when I looked at both of their lives, and I zoomed out from just their Parkinson's diagnosis and their knee pain, it really occurred to me of like, man, both of these guys were on antidepressants for 50 years. They did not have fun hobbies that they did regularly. They were not part of communities. They ate like garbage. They barely exercised or moved their bodies. And that's why they were coming into my office. It appeared that the Parkinson's diagnosis or the knee pain brought them in, but really what it was 40 years of a lifestyle that brought them into my office. So all of this to say, when a patient now walks in my office, I see them as a starfish. I can help make a huge difference in their life. I can pick them up and throw them back into the ocean. I can get them to move better, and sleep better, and eat better, and manage their stress better. And it's the most rewarding thing in the world. I love what I get to do as a profession. But I'm confined to four walls here. I'm confined to my zip code and my area code here. And I'm on a bit of a mission now to say, how can I look around and say, how do we help more starfish? How do we make it so that there are fewer starfish on the beach who need help? Because listen, I would love to help the one starfish who comes in with a sprained ankle because they were playing basketball and an injury happened. But I would tell you that the vast majority, 80, 90% of my caseload of people in their 50s and beyond has much more to do with their lifestyle for the past 30, 40 years than it does with their acute injury that's happened in this amount of time. So at what point do we as a society and as a healthcare profession look around and say, why are there so many PT clinics popping up every 30 feet in my town? Why are there so many pain management doctors who have a wait list to see their patients, right? Why? And this is a quick aside. A couple of years ago, they opened up a new cancer center next to our local hospital here in Livingston, New Jersey. And I drove by it and I thought, oh, wow, like what a cool resource to have so close to home for us, 10 minutes from our house. And then almost immediately I thought, why do we need a cancer center 10 minutes from my house? Like what's happening where the demand is so high that they've built this? It's not in New York City, which is half an hour from my house. It's 10 minutes away. Why do we need this? When there are a whole bunch of great ones in New York City. It just made me start to think a little bit differently about it. And I think we as a profession, as physical therapists, have a responsibility to, yes, help the individual starfish who come into our office, and we can pick them up and throw them back in the ocean and really, really help them and change their lives. We have a responsibility to look around and say, how did they all get here? And what can we do about it as a system? Okay? And it starts when our kids are little, and it starts with the habits that we show them and the values that we instill and our examples for in them, because it comes up the chain, right? And we're seeing it go up and down the chain. But that's why I'm writing books now, because I can affect a whole bunch of lives with a book that maybe a friend gives to somebody in California that is outside of my zip code and my area code and my 4 walls of my clinic here. So I wanted to share that with you. I appreciate you. Thank you for spending your time, your energy, your attention, and your effort with me. Keep moving and keep getting better every day.